So, have you ever wondered why some of the most loving people tend to attract narcissistic relationships? That is definitely the question of the year. Typically, those people who have the most compassion and empathy tend to attract narcissists. The reason for this is because narcissistic people are always looking for a supply. They're always looking for someone who seems to be a little bit more vulnerable, a little less aware, a little bit more naive. At least this is their initial perception of certain people that they tend to target. Quite often, the individual that the narcissist attracts is usually someone who's very compassionate and empathetic, and they have been through a lot. Typically, those people who have gone through a lot of trials and tribulations, but still been able to maintain a good heart and have come out on the other side of those situations, being very empathetic and compassionate towards others, tend to end up in narcissistic connections. These connections are very draining. They are very self-fulfilling. The narcissist is typically very much so a gaslighter. They'll have the individual thinking that they are crazy, that what they are picking up on and discerning from their behavior is not, in fact, real. These beings are very much so competitive energies, okay? They like to challenge you, they like to compete with you, but they do it in a very underhanded way. So even in those moments when you know that you deserve to be celebrated, these beings will act as if they're celebrating you when in fact, what's really boiling underneath the surface is someone who is jealous and who wants the spotlight and attention on them. The moment that you begin to call out the behavior of these individuals is when they become very, very defensive. Okay. And their objective is to keep the spotlight off of them and to keep it on you. Even if you are right, they will find a way to shift the narrative so that it ends up the focus of the conversation is on maybe your tone of voice, maybe the words that you have chosen to select, but less about the behavior that they are displaying. The best way to navigate these types of situations and to ensure that you do not attract a narcissist in your life is to be very much so balanced. You want to project an energy of love and compassion and empathy. You don't want to get rid of those beautiful qualities because those are superpowers. You want to hold on to that side of yourself, but you want to be very, very selective of who you share this energy with. And so typically, unfortunately, society has given birth, has breeded a lot of narcissistic individuals. And so, keeping this in mind, you want to approach all new relationships from a perspective of being very, very neutral, not being over giving, over nurturing, but also not being too cold and too guarded, but giving just enough and just a little in order to be able to discern what is being given back to you in return. Because narcissists tend to feed off of people's energy, and reciprocity is not their language. They're all about taking, 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 and giving the bare minimum in return. But also keep in mind, these beings are very good at wearing masks because their objective is to remain unhidden. They don't want you to discover these patterns that they hold, nor do they want you calling them out. And so they have gotten very good at bringing their representative to the table. And this is where your discernment is very, very vital in these connections. Being able to detect whether or not this person is bringing their representative is where you want to really give that person the space to speak about themselves, to bring who they are to the table. Leave the ball in their court to guide a lot of these conversations. That way you can discern red flags when you see them, and you won't feel like you've overgiven of yourself too soon and you've given too much with and while receiving very little in return. Because these beings typically look for cracks and crevices. They look for wounds and traumas. They are looking for that one thing that they can use that says, aha, perfect victim or perfect prey. Okay? Keep these things in mind in your relationship life, in your family dynamics, when it comes to friends, co-workers. No one is exempt. Many people display these patterns, but the most important thing is to make sure that it's not you.